Hi everyone, welcome to the Instructional Activities module on my topic, Instructional Technology. I hope you enjoyed the pre-instructional activities, which included the reading in the textbook and a survey for self-identification of your current comfort level in the use of technology. This presentation will include a brief history and overview of instructional technology and its implementation in the classroom, online resources that you can use to identify and find new tools to present information, as well as an introduction to various different types of online tools that you could potentially use for information distribution in the future. You have two options of how you want to view this course. You can either watch the screen share video that I have created for you, or you can minimize this presentation and listen to the audio while clicking on the links provided in the module to learn on your own. Here are all the different links that you can use to click through if you want to do this on your own. First, I want to go over instructional technologies using a new resource that I found while working on these modules, visme.com. I will go over the pros and cons of Visme later in my presentation. As we read in the textbook reading, Web 2.0 is a phrase that is used to refer to websites that promote collaboration, user participation, interactivity, and content sharing. Since instructional technologies is a way to use technology to further support and enhance education, we will consider the phrase instructional technologies rather than Web 2.0 for this presentation. Educators are always looking for better ways to engage their students. It is no surprise that the instructional technologies have been adopted into education since the mid-70s. Multiple medias being used in the 70s include print, radio, television, and video. Around this time, the Internet began to develop and it opened up a realm of possibilities to support the concept of technology in education. Instructional technology made distance education a possibility, which we are all aware of, being that we are students in an online program right now. Instructional technology allows education to be learner-focused. This is because educators can provide multiple platforms for their students to learn from. There is a push for educators to meet the needs of a more diverse population, and instructional technologies can meet that need. We are now entering an era where many students are very internet and tech savvy, and technology can help improve their understanding of material. Another concept to consider is the improvement of collaboration between students and educators. In classroom settings, students would have to raise their hand to have a voice in the classroom. Polling websites or student response systems like Clicker allows every student to give feedback from their seats and see the responses of their peers. Group projects used to mean everyone meeting face-to-face to allow for in-person collaboration. However, new websites like Google Drive and Padlet allow for online collaboration to occur, as it is a shared space where all users can upload, download, and edit information on a project. I will discuss the resource Padlet later in this presentation. Now I want to discuss a short review of literature regarding instructional technology. A study done by Means in 2010 compared school systems that had integrated the same technologies into their courses. These school systems were either identified as high-gain schools or low-gain schools, which reflected change in academic achievements after implementation of these technologies. The purpose of the study was to determine what made the high-gain schools more successful in this technology implementation. Her research team found 4 ways to support implementation of instructional technology. First, there should be an establishment of consistent instructional vision. This concept means that administration personnel should be, administrative personnel and educators should share a consistent idea of how to implement the technology in regards to their courses. The second is administrative support for software use. Ways administration can show their support include giving classrooms with defined use of instructional technology within their course priority use of campus computer centers, and sending educators to obtain proficiency in their use of technology through educational courses. The third is educator collaboration around software use. All of the schools in this study that reported a high gain of success through use of technology reported educators collaborating with each other on the use of software products. And finally, the last suggestion is satisfactory on-site technical support. This includes both choosing the right equipment prior to implementation of certain software and also an on-site technology support team to help with any issues that may arise. According to an article by Abrahams in 2010, there are 7 barriers to technology adoption in higher education. These barriers include perception, resistance to change, technological support, financial support, infrastructure, knowledge, information, and technophobia. With every technological advancement, there are bound to be barriers to implementation that may prevent the technology to be used in its fullest extent. It would be important for stakeholders, for example, administration and universities and professors of education, to be aware of these barriers and how they may affect how their lesson is being translated to their students. Here is a list of my references, and I can provide an electronic copy of this list for anyone that is interested. Now I would like to do an overview of the different types of instructional technologies and all of the resources I am presenting on, where they're available online and where you can find them. I will go ahead and start with SurveyMonkey. The online survey questionnaire that you all have taken prior to starting this part of the module was used through SurveyMonkey. So SurveyMonkey is a powerful tool that I actually use pretty often in order to gather information from multiple people in a formal way. As you can see here, I have 5 different surveys that I have created over the past few years. Since I'm pre-recording this, our pre-instructional activities doesn't have any of the responses collected just yet. When designing a survey, I'll go ahead and edit the survey that we just made. When designing the survey, SurveyMonkey allows for fast editing and multiple options of how you want your questions displayed. So here are the questions that you guys all answered. As you can see, there are different ways to answer them. If I go in through here and add a new question, you can see that I have a spot to enter my question and also all these different options of how I want the question to be asked. It is really easy to edit, but the only downfall is that it is limited to 10 questions. I'm going to go back to my surveys, and I will go ahead and open up one of these surveys that I have used in the past. This is just one I used for my hospital to talk about social outings and when people are available to attend them. So as you can see here, SurveyMonkey creates visual charts for you to easily understand how people respond to the questions that you're asking. Has a collection of how many people answered the questions, shows you what were the most popular answers, and even allows them to, let's see, sorry about that. It allows them to add other suggestions if you allow them to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and X out of that. The next link that I want to go to is this International Society for Technology and Education. This society hosts multiple blogs to help integrate technology into education. They offered paid memberships for students and educators, but they also offer multiple free resources, including this page on the ISTE standards for students, educators, and administrative support. And that is right here. So you can go through, say we want to look at the ISTE standards for students, we can click on Learn More. And it has different information regarding what they want to get across for students, for educators, and also for administrative personnel. What I found to be very interesting was this Tools to Support Digital Learning. There's a link on your Module 8 instructions if you want to click on that specifically. On the left-hand side of the screen, you can see that there are different categories available for use. So each category has a few different online resources that may be helpful when choosing how you want to display the information that you want to give out. And most of these resources are free, but some of them do have paid options for upgrades. So first, let's look at accessibility and differentiation tools. As you can see here, VoiceOver, Read and Write for Google Chrome, and Dragon Mobile Assistant. Dragon Dictation, it allows you to dictate into software. I know our hospital uses Dragon Dictation for our physicians to dictate their notes into our electronic medical record system. If you click on a specific tool, it gives you a little bit more information on what the tool offers. And then if you click, it provides a link to actually get and use the tool. Let me go ahead and go back. Reading tools is a resource that can actually help out persons who are blind or for non-readers. If we look in, go back to our categories, we can click on coding and design tools, and these promote problem solving, support learning within the design process. We have communication tools. These are tools that help present complicated ideas to various learners. I know we're all familiar with VoiceThread. That's something that we utilize in our courses now. I'll go over easily a little bit later. It's a way to present infographics. Blogger is just a free blogging website that Google offers where people can present information that way. Creativity and showcasing knowledge. These are tools where creative students can showcase their creativity and knowledge. One that I found was pretty interesting was this Comic Life. You can use this web-based tool to make your own comic strips to disseminate information. I'm not that creative, so I didn't use that one. And Entrepreneur Ready actually doesn't have anything in there right now, so we'll skip that. Independent study tools, quiz making tools, and other study resources. These allow students to learn material at their own pace using various media formats. Quizlet is something that I'll go over later in this presentation. It has different topics where you can either create your own study material or search other pre-created study material. Go into note-taking, organizational aids, and visual thinking tools. These are note-taking apps or websites that allow you to organize ideas and research and create timelines. I know Evernote is something that I had used in school before. Instead of printing off all of the PowerPoint presentations, I would pull up Evernote and type directly onto the PowerPoint presentations that I was listening to during lectures. Go back. Then we have research and curation tools. These platforms allow for curation of multiple resources. You can see Pinterest might be something that we're all familiar with. They're kind of collective boards where people can put different links and stuff related to certain topics. Storage and collaboration tools. These allow for organizing and sharing of documents for asynchronous collaboration. Like earlier, I had mentioned Google Drive and Padlet. I think we're also familiar with Dropbox. These are multiple people can access these and add different resources in order to collaborate depending on what type of projects they have. We have video conferencing and chat tools. I'm sure we are all very familiar with Zoom. This is something that we utilize during this program in order to collaborate with each other and kind of be on the same track and talk about our different projects that we're working on. Skype has similar functionality as well. So they allow, to make meeting outside of the classroom happen. And then finally, video, screencasting, audio, and movie making tools. These allow students to express themselves creatively using audio recordings, videos, and different types of media. Here are the different ones that you could possibly use. The service that I'm using right now to record my screen and audio is called Kaltura, and it's actually available through one.iu.edu. So what I did is I went to one.iu.edu and I typed in media. And here you see Kaltura Media Space. It allowed me to download the specific software that I needed and be able to record my screen as well as my audio at the same time, which is really helpful. And I think that this might be what Tony uses to present information during this course. All right, so let's go back to our module. So now I would like to go over a few different presentation methods and tools that can be used to disseminate information. Let's go ahead and click on this Padlet link. And it'll take us to this website. I'm actually going to switch browsers because I already have everything pulled up that I need. So I decided to go over the same information with different presentation methods. My topic of choice was shoulder range of motion. That is something that's easily understood by all of us as occupational therapists. I wanted to display the same information in multiple formats so that you can understand how different resources may work better for different types of information. First, I will show you the Padlet website I created for this. Like I said earlier, you can either explore the links on your own using the URLs I provided in the module site back here on Canvas, right there. Or you can watch the video of me going through and explaining the different sites. Okay, let's go back. So first, Padlet is a collaborative website in which you can create different boards for different topics. For example, this is a board on the topic of range of motion. These can be shared boards. I set this board to public so that we all have access to it. Say we are all working on a group project on shoulder range of motion. Padlet would allow each of us to create these mini boards where we can share information that we have found. While this is similar to Google Drive, I think it is better because it allows you to upload different types of file formats, such as the ones you see here. This just allows for ease of resource sharing and greater collaboration. So if I were to add, say I'm going onto this board and I want to add information, I can click on this link and you can see all the different types of information I could put. So you can upload a file from your computer, insert a link, do a Google image search, take a photo from your webcam or upload pictures, capture a video from your camera, record audio. You can doodle on the on-screen canvas, add a map or link to another Padlet board that you have possibly created. And say again, I'm going to go ahead and delete this. Say again, this is something that we have uploaded all the information together. You can see I uploaded a zip file here for my range of motion pictures. So if I click open this, you can see all of the pictures that I've used for the different types of presentations that I made. So that's all right there. And I uploaded some YouTube videos that you'll see integrated in some of my presentations a little bit later. Now I'll show you my PowerPoint that I created for shoulder range of motion. I won't go into too much detail in PowerPoint since you guys are all pretty familiar with it. I'll just show you the presentation so that you can see the differences between the different platforms. So obviously with PowerPoint we're able to utilize arrows and different types of media to express what we're trying to get across. Here I was able to add in pictures so that you can see. It talks about the placement of the goniometer and shows you, what exactly you're looking through, the different positions of the patient, depending on what you're measuring, and then the normal ranges of motion. So that was my basic presentation on PowerPoint. I'm going to go ahead and X out of that. Here is the same presentation, but using visme.com instead. This is the same platform that I use to talk about instructional technologies. It is very similar to PowerPoint, but there's a bit more flexibility in the function and it is visually more aesthetic and engaging. As you can see, I'm able to integrate both pictures and video into this. So I'll go ahead. So with PowerPoint, you can really only include links to the YouTube videos. Here you can actually integrate the video into the presentation, and I think videos are helpful to visualize the task rather than just pictures of different steps in the task. Through Visme, I was also able to start this video at a predetermined time rather than starting at the beginning. You can go through different, yep. So here's just the same information presented with videos integrated in here. And then I'll go ahead and go through my Visme editing tool. So if you see over here on the left-hand side of the screen, there are different design tools that I can incorporate into my presentation. Very similar to PowerPoint. I don't really have many cons about this program. It takes a little bit of extra time to get used to presenting and making what the different options are. So here, but I think that's pretty much what's going to happen every time you use something new. Here's different texts, designs that you can add. You can add different shapes. You have different types of categories you can use. You can add images that they pre-provided, or you can upload images into your library. Here's different charts that you can make, just making it a little bit more visually appealing. Here's, the YouTube video that you can insert. I'm going to hit cancel there. You can also add audio and external content through URL. Let me go back to my Padlet. For some reason, this screencasting and video software does not like Prezi. So whenever I've tried to record it a few times and go through my Prezi presentation on the screencasting tool, I would like to talk a little bit about Prezi. You guys are all pretty familiar with it, as this was the platform that I used for my presentation on my capstone information back in December. What I would encourage you to do is go ahead and pause this presentation and go back to, the instructional activities, click on the link that takes you to my Padlet, and then click on the Prezi presentation itself. And you can present it on your own computer. Again, for some reason, it just messes with the screencasting software. Some things to note are the visual aesthetics of transitions between the slides, and also the integration of YouTube videos within the slides itself. After you're done viewing the presentation, go ahead and hit play on this presentation so I can talk about how to edit. So here's what the editing process looks like. You can insert different items into your Prezi. You can draw arrows, lines, highlighter, even add background music or voiceover paths. I've never done that in Prezis myself, but I'm sure it's pretty easy to do so. There are different frames you can add to kind of section off your information. On the left-hand panel over here, you have the different path in which you want the slides to present in. Very easy to manipulate and move everything. Or you can hit edit path and see exactly which way you're going to go. And this was actually just a template that I used, and it was very easy to plug in information. And while I really love to use Prezi, it's hard for people to get used to at first. I've been using it for quite a few years, and it's been easier and easier every time I do. It does take a while to make sure your presentations remain professional looking, as there are many different templates to choose from. And the only con that people find when using Prezi is that the transitions between slides are a little bit distracting during presentations, and that's one of the feedback remarks that I received after my presentation in December. Get out of there. Okay, now we are back to our Padlet, and I want to show you one more presentation resource, and it's called Easily. This is an infographic that I created on the information that I presented on for shoulder range of motion. As you can tell, it's very basic in terms of the information sharing. There's not much flexibility in how information is presented, as this is a static graphic. Please don't judge me on the look of this. This was the first one I've ever created. I think this platform could be very beneficial depending on what type of information you're giving. For this specific topic, I think it's maybe more beneficial to use a different platform. So you can include videos, you can include more flexibility that way. When you look at their website, you can see they have different tips and tricks on how to make infographics, and let's kind of fast forward through some of this. So they show you, how you're able to choose different types of clip art, how you can resize them, how you can move them wherever you want to, and they give you, those guidelines of what placement looks like, and those types of things. And that's very helpful. Finally, I just want to go over some informal ways to distribute information. Here we have Quizlet. This is a helpful website to use when trying to study for a quiz or test. When information is popular, such as shoulder range of motion, there may be people that have already created flashcards with this information on that you can use to study. You can also create your own study information by creating an account. If I click on this flashcard link right here, this is something that somebody else has already created. I'm just accessing it. I found it through the search function. So the question, I didn't expect that to talk, so obviously if you click on it, it will talk out loud. So what is the norm for shoulder flexion? I would click to flip, and the answer would be 180 degrees. Let me go to the next one. Shoulder extension, the start position for the axis, and click to flip. Sitting upright or prone with palm facing medially, placed on the lateral aspect of the center of the humeral head, about 2.5 centimeters down in anatomical position. like these other informal ways to learn information, this may not be the main way to show information, but it could be something that can help you supplement the different lesson plans that you create. Another way to enhance learning is to go through different social media platforms like Pinterest. Let me click on this board here. So this is just a board that I made called Range of Motion. Pinterest is a social media platform where you can add different links to certain topic boards we talked about a little bit earlier. Here, let me see if it'll take me to the board here. No. Okay, let me go here. Let me type in range of motion. And I use Pinterest to kind of supplement my studying too, if I'm interested to see here. Let me type in goniometer. Yeah, and there are a lot of different websites where it shows you how to place, that's a different type of goniometer. There are a few websites I found on here before that show you correct placement on goniometer depending on what you're trying to measure. So here's a YouTube video that somebody's uploaded that talks about range of motion and how to measure it. So Pinterest is nice because it has a bunch of different types of platforms that other people upload into one, and you just kind of search through. The only downfall is that obviously these aren't, these aren't always accurate information. You just have to really look at what you're getting and take it with determine if it's beneficial for you or not. Finally, you can always use YouTube on my. Back to my Padlet board. I have 3 different YouTube videos that I uploaded on here. You can go into YouTube and type in, shoulder range of motion, and it'll show you different videos that you can watch to see which ones you find helpful. And it's just another way to further your understanding with different topics. And I believe that is all I have for you guys for this presentation. Again, this is an overview of my Padlet collaboration board that I've used, and now you can go ahead and exit out of this presentation and move on to the post-instructional activities. Thank you for listening.